Right, hello, welcome to Hilly Stream for Tuesday nights, and we are here with WAOF1 for our next round of the Tuesday Night Championship, and it is a sprint formats race tonight, which is slightly different this year, so I will explain. We are at Abu Dhabi, which is a great track for it in my thinking. So the format, so it's a short qualifying, followed by a 25% race as a sprint. The drivers will have to make at least one pit stop during that sprint race. Then the top, so then it will be the usual 50% race. Now the top 10 will start in reverse order. So the person who wins the sprint race will start 10th in the main feature race. The person who finishes 10th will start on pole. Outside of the top 10, they will start where they finished. So there we have it. That's our format for tonight. First out on track is a Sauber, and it is Gunnar, I am sure. Indeed it is. So let's go to Gunnar. Ready for the first hot lap this evening. I love this track, by the way, Abu Dhabi. It's one of the absolute great tracks of the season. Actually, thinking away, it's a shame it's last. I don't think it's the best track for being last. I still think Brazil was probably the best one at being last, but because it could throw anything up. You can often get rain at Brazil or all sorts. So as Gunnar takes out as many barriers as he can, I don't know what that's about. Yep, takes out another one as well. He wants rid of them on his out lap. I wonder what the stewards are thinking of that. We're going to take that one out, though, is he? Because he's about to start a lap. So here we go. Why did he do that, then? Just in case he catches him and gets him stuck under the car, I guess. Endor44, good luck to all. Good evening, man. Welcome to the stream. Gunnar flying through the first sector. Sector ends here, so it's just a very short first sector, 17.4 seconds. 5-place grid penalty for Watson, who collides with Steersy. Oh dear. Well, that's not a good start for the Haas man. What's that Steersy going on a lap? Watson coming out of the pits? I don't know. We know that Steersy was out early because we happened to be on board with him when it started. So I'm just going to, sorry about coming away from the lap, I just want to go to Watson because he's going very, very slow. And I'm just wondering if he's really taken a... Well, can't see any obvious signs of damage, so let's go straight back to Gunnar. Yeah, absolutely, Endor. It's a fair point. It is a fair point. Sorry, I didn't watch the lap, but I'll try and we'll try and get it on his next run. But 1:23.2 seems like a pretty decent start to me. Steersy's invalidated. Maybe that's why he come to a collision with Watson. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. Let's go to Robin as he finishes his lap. So a couple of others just ahead as well. Admiral 23.5 gets off to a decent start. James immediately goes fastest, 22.9. Barry 23.6, Robin, who we're on board with 24.5, immediately beaten by Gregory, who goes 23.3. Chewbacca invalidated. Let's go to Chris Falcal 23.8. Ryanair's gone into P2 22.9. Very tight with James. All sorts of drivers jumping up the order. I've gone on board with Chris so that we can see a full lap. Whale 23.3 goes into P5. Maybe Endor, but what I would suggest, actually, I think you're right. It's to do with his line, and the reason I say that is because I know, having driven this track many times, I do occasionally get one of these bollard things stuck underneath my car, and it is frustrating. So I'm guessing that's why he's done it, just to prevent that. And I guess that helps everyone in a way. so it stops anyone getting them stuck underneath the car. I'm not, yeah, Chris isn't on a lap here, so let's change. Watson's invalidated. Doesn't want to give up here, Watson, because you have a 5-place grid penalty, whether it was a fair one or not, but may have that, but obviously the higher he qualifies, the least impact that's going to have on him. And if he could qualify somewhere just inside the top 10 or something like that and start just outside of the top 10, that could put him on with a good chance of maybe nicking that 10th place spot, a 9th for attempt to start first or second for the feature race. So, all not lost at all for Watson. Ozers rounds the final corner then. Where does he go? 23.3 puts him just behind his teammate into P6. Kev steals his teammate and smart, yeah, perhaps not legal. I'm guessing it will be in league racing, but yeah, obviously in real life they get in real trouble if they did that. They wouldn't do that anyway, just in case they ended up running over it and causing damage to the car. But yeah, I don't think that's something the stewards have ever had to think of before. But perhaps I'll have a little discussion with them after the race. Maybe wouldn't be able to penalise him for anything at this moment, but for future races here, it could be something said if you're deliberately taking out the bars. Interesting one. Never seen it before, so. Kev round the penultimate corner, and it's wide, very wide through the final corner, so that would have lost him a bit of time. So he's definitely got an improvement in that little part of the sector. Goes P12 on a 24.5 at the moment. Somebody else jumped up then. I think that was Tolu going up to P3 on a 23.0. Watson back to the pits. The guys will have to be a little bit careful on pit entry during the races because that glitch is still there where it gives you a warning if you touch the curb. So you just need to be a little bit careful. Like if they happen to have 3 warnings in a race and one of them is that, then they can potentially get a penalty removed. But I don't think anybody's on a lap right now. Chris went into P10 on his hot lap, by the way, 23.7. As Kev we see diving out the way, but say Chris isn't actually on a lap, so he's not. There's no worries there. Salver of Gunnar moves right across in front of him. Validates there. Admiral just starting a lap, so let's go with Admiral. I'm guessing these guys, some of these guys, just taking the opportunity to do a second lap on the same set of tyres. They're pretty done after the one flying lap, if I'm honest. So unless you've made a specific mistake on your first lap, then you're not likely to improve. You know, if you've done a good lap, you're not likely to then improve on a second run on the same tyres. But still offers the chance to get a little bit of practice, that extra lap practice. It's almost good through the chicane, just caught the curb on the inside of the second part, which just unsettles the car a little bit and it's a little bit slower to get on the power. So slightly up actually through sector 2, only just, but he was slightly up. This will be a used set. He won't be using a second fresh set in Q1, Admiral. He's be pretty comfortably through on the time he's done. So across the line, improves by 3 tenths, jumps to P5, just ahead of his teammate. Barry has invalidated. Steersy goes fastest on a 22.6. Steersy been pretty dominant in quali shape recently. Vatu is there going to be a shout from Vat? He's coming back on comms again this week. He's welcome if he wants to. He's welcome. Always welcome. D-Kit. Not on the lap. So, D-Kit, a new driver, just joined the league. So, I will try and get a lap with him in if we can. Always good to see the new guys go. Ryanair invalidated. Gunnar not on the lap. Gregory's just started the lap. I didn't see the split time come up on there, so not sure if he's improving or not. Let's stick. Oh no, he's driving none down the straight, so clearly not on a lap. James letting somebody overtake him, so he's clearly not on a lap either. Steers, he's just completed a lap. Let's go to the only man who hasn't set a time yet, JT Gent. Just a bit wide in turn one, which didn't catch the larger part of the curb, the sausage curb part on the outside, and just unsettled the car a little bit. Wouldn't have cost him too much time. What might be rear? If I join comms, Whale might be rear-ended in quali again. Exactly. Hang on, Whale might be rear-ended. I don't think that's quite what happened. Was it? No, that is what happened, isn't it? Yeah, he got in somebody's way and they drove into the back of him, which he fully deserved. It's up to you, Fatty. Just give me a yes or a no and let me know. Gent 54.6 through sector 2. That corner we've just gone through, you'll see it. Well, you won't see it in the race, but in the race, that's the real tyre killer on this track. The long, fast left-hander. Don't necessarily need to go below 5th gear, but if you do actually shift down to 4th, leaves you a little bit of time in the lap, but it does help to keep the tyre temperature down. Almost glide banged it in the race. Zone. Oh, early night for you tonight, Batsy. Okay, mate, no worries. Well, anytime you want to jump on, you know you're welcome. So, Gent 26.6. Said he was the last person to get a time on the board. I didn't notice that Watson didn't have one. I thought he had. He's about to start a lap then, so we may as well stick with the Haas man. The Haas man. Here he comes. Maybe could have been a bit quicker out the final corner, starting the lap, but it shouldn't make too much difference. Sorry, excuse me. 17.4 through the first sector. And a fag out for a Ferrari that's following him around the track, which suggests they've run out of fuel. So that's Ozers. So we'll be heading back into the pits. Down to the slow chicane. Someone's bright idea of sticking a chicane right in the middle of a massive long straight. So, I wonder if you guys are fans of this new corner for this part of the circuit, or whether you used to prefer the sort of S-bend that used to be there, the tight S. I like both layouts. I liked the way it was, but I don't dislike this either, so I'm pretty open to either. They both offer great opportunities for overtaking, so... Oh, Watson's back into the pits. I guess that is because you just noticed actually that invalidated his lap when he touched the curb going into the pits. So that's what I was talking about earlier on. Just need to be a bit careful. Not close to starting a lap yet. Let's go to Josh. No, he's heading back to the pits. I think a lot of drivers heading back to the pits at this point because it's the last chance they're going to have to stick on a new set of tyres and get out for a final run, a final attempt to make that top 15. Oh no, it's not top 15, is it? Because we're short qualifying. It is a pole for pole. I completely forgot about that. It completely slipped my mind. Sorry, let's just go. No, Falcao's invalidated, so let's stick with Chewbacca. Oh, just clatters the curb on the chicane. I think down to 80% battery at that time, so at that point, so it's a lot of battery left. He's 2 seconds down, so maybe he's trying to get back. Robin lets the car through. Tolu's retired. Perhaps he doesn't realise it's short. So let's go down to D-Kit then and catch a hot lap off of this new driver. So down to the hairpin, down to third gear. Well, D-Kit uses second. I think third is plenty really to be going down to. DRS open, head down the straight. Already used way too much battery at this point of the lap, I have to say. Switched it down to medium. Actually could use none through this chicane. No need for any battery through there. And overtake again. See, that's the reason why I say he's used too much battery, because at this point he's already under 10%. When you're under 10%, your battery isn't as powerful. So on that sort of second really long straight, you do not want to be already down below 10% at that stage. Head down to, you know, you go under 10% on your way to the right-hander that we've just been through at the start of it sets a free. And to the final corner then. How's he gone? Uses plenty of curve on the entry to the corner. 24.0 puts him into P15. Chewbacca retires out, so he is out. Josh is on an outlap. Gent has only just come out the pits on an outlap. That's going to be pretty tight. I think he will make it, but it is going to be tight. He certainly can't hang around on that outlap. Let's go to Admiral then. Just heading for the line. Can Admiral improve? Has a little bit of a wobble out the final corner. Improves by 2 tenths. Goes up to P8. Gregory not improving on his run, but is cooling down to go again. Ryanair then. Steersy, James, Chris. Well, let's go to Steersy, who's just started a lap for what could potentially be pole position. Gooners starts the lap just ahead of us as well. So Steersy 17 thousandths up through sector 1. Out the corner, open up the steering, get on the power, DRS open. Set your overtake down pretty far down the straight, but there's no point overusing it. It's at some point in 8th gear it becomes very redundant. Pretty nice, pretty clean through the chicane. I could argue he's maybe slightly wide on the first part of the chicane, but that would be really nitpicking. ERS overtake again down the second straight. 30 thousandths up through sector 2. Surprisingly, he doesn't keep it nice and tight to the inside through the first part of those right-handers. Do that in time trial, it always gains you a bit of time. And into the final corner then for Steersy. Here he comes, 22.499 for the fastest lap. James stays P2. Chris heading for the line, is improving and goes P2, 22.557. It's tight. Gunnar doesn't improve. Ozer's down. How about his teammates invalidated? So can Ozer's gain in? No, he can't because he hits the wall. So you can rule that one out from Ozer's. Falcao. Oh, surprised that didn't invalidate. He must have really come off the power to stop that invalidating. He's not improved in a way, so actually that's really why. Daisy Gent, though, who we know will have been the last man across the line, can't improve either. So that is it for qualifying. So it's a Steersy pole position for the sprint. Chris P2, James in 3, Tolu 4, retired early from the session. I wonder if he didn't realise it was a short. Gregory starts at P5. Gunnar in 6, Ryan 7. We'll do the full rundown on the grid in a way on the formation lap, so we'll leave that for then. But yeah, wouldn't blame Tolu if we didn't realise it was short, because even though I said it at the start that it was going to be short, I completely forgot about it for about the first 5 minutes of qualifying, where I was talking about people only using one set of tyres and stuff. Yeah, there we have it then. There's our top 19. Watson didn't put a time on the board in the end. Might rue that, because if he could have started somewhere around 12-13, I wouldn't put it past Watson to gain a few places during the sprint race, and therefore start potentially pole or second for the feature, but might still be able to do that, you never know. So just early on then, grid penalty, collision with Steersy. It does appear that the 5-place grid penalty was only given to Watson and not Steersy, so I am expecting to see Steersy on pole. I'm just going to check the Discord chat, see if there's anything said in there. Hopefully nothing like shouty at each other, because they're not allowed to do that, but just see if either of them mentioned it at all. I can see an apology or something like that if somebody's been at fault. Okay, there we go. That's what happened. So, Watson says, "I'm so sorry, my steering wheel reset coming down the pit lane. I then spun in the pit lane and it reset me on track in front of you. I can confirm that the game does do that. Sorry to anyone else that I messed up their lap 2 as well. I couldn't brake or accelerate. So yeah, there you go. As I say, I can confirm the game does do that. It's annoying." So let's get on. Ooh, I've got a red. Oh no, it's gone. Okay. I had a red notification thing on the settings on Twitch, but it's gone. Disappeared before I could press it. Don't know what that was about. I'm going to put my fan on. Hopefully it doesn't come through on the stream. Please let me know if you can hear it. I'm just hanging about because we're going to have obviously a break between the sprint and the main race. So they are having a break now, but I'm not going to disappear at this point. So I'll stick with you. I don't know if any of you, anyone out there watching, if you want to give your comments, what do you think about the liveries so far? Which one's your favourite? They already released today, but I've not seen anything good said about it. I've seen it. I don't think it looks that bad, but oh no, hang on, that's not it. I don't think it looks as bad as people are saying. I reckon it looked pretty good when it's out there, but yeah, seen a lot of praise given to the Red Bull one so far this year. I think they changed something on it, which just it shocked everybody so much that they just say, yeah, I like that, because they've changed something. Getting close to the new season, which in turn means that we're getting relatively close to the new game. Not that there is one, of course. It's going to be an update on this game, but I'm guessing it's going to be a large update. They can't just keep the cars the same. They must be doing a massive update, which is going to change the cars like in real life, etc. I can't believe for a second they're just going to change performance and stuff like that. If all they do is change performance and things like that, and people have to pay 30, 40, 50 quid or whatever for the update, they're going to get absolutely shredded. So I don't believe for a second it's going to be that. It will be a full update, including all the cars, etc., I believe. But I don't have any insider information at this stage, so I don't know for sure. We head down to the sprint then. So I'm not sure exactly how many laps it is. 25%. So I think a 50% race around here is something like 27 laps-ish. So I'm expecting around 13. Right, onto the formation lap we go then. So let's get some details up. So we are... Steersy starts on pole with Chris alongside in P2. James starts P3 with Tolu in 4. Gregory starts 5 with Gunnar in 6. Ryanair starting P7. Admiral alongside in 8. Then the two Ferraris start P9 and P10 with Falcao and Williams in P11. Kev starts in 12. Robin in P13. Barry starts 14 with Josh in 15. D-Kit starts P16. Chewbacca in 17. JT Gent 18. And Watson, who of course had the 5-place grid penalty, but didn't get a time on the board anyway, so we'll start P19. Interesting to look at the tyres. The top 3 started on the softs, then Tolu and Gregory on the mediums, then 6th to 10th all starting on the softs. Falcao splits the softs by starting on the mediums in P11. Kev starts on the softs in 12, but then a run of mediums from 13 all the way to 18, and Watson at the back starting on the softs, maybe in an attempt to gain some places at the start. Turn 1 can be a little bit of a nightmare here. It's quite a tight 90-degree turn. So it's generally right if there's 2 cars side by side, but when you get a situation where 3 become along side by side, you get 3 cars side by side at the same time, things get rather tight. And it's almost, you've got to imagine it's almost inevitable that's going to happen somewhere down the grid, so hopefully all the drivers survive. Then you've got the worry of the 2 curbs. So the left-hander, if you're on the inside, the curb can be a little bit of a pain. If you're on the inside for the right-hand turn 3, that curb can be a pain as well. So if anybody loses it there, ghosting off this season. So if anybody loses it on those 2 curbs, it could see a little bit of carnage. So we'll see how it goes. It's not a bad camera angle for the start. So, in fact, it's a perfect camera angle. So Steersy on the left, Chris on the right. 5 lights on, quite a long pause, but out they go and away we go. Chris seems to react reasonably well, but Steersy gets a good clean start and will lead down into turn 1. James has gotten halfway alongside Chris on the outside through turn 1, but couldn't get back through. Just quickly nip back, see if we see any issues, but no, so far it looks like everybody's got through turns 1, 2 and 3 absolutely fine. Keep an eye on the hairpin. Oh, Sauber gets out of shape, Barry gets out of shape, and there was a contact from behind, and I think it was a Haas, but it was Robin, because Watson is already up to P14. Hopefully Robin didn't sustain any damage there. Steersy already looking like he might be able to get away. He's just created a second gap, although it's immediately closed down by Chris. Steersy looks quick on the straights. Steersy's running hard, lower downforce, because you saw how Chris immediately caught him in the chicane, but then immediately lost down the straight. Tolu making a move on Gunnar and gets back through where he started in P4. Oh, there's a bit of contact. Gunnar got alongside through the fast right-handers. Never really an ideal place to make a move, but you're well within your rights if you can get fully alongside to do so. So there's a bit of contact. I don't think there's any damage to the cars. I did see something throw up in the air, but that generally happens in a way on the game when there's some sort of contact, so I don't think there's any actual damage. Let's just go to position changes for a sprint, and as you can see, Watson up 8 places from 19th to 11th. What a start from the Haasman. So I said about him maybe nicking a 9th attempt to start high for the on the grid for the feature race, and he's looking like he might be able to do just that. Although he is now chasing Falcao. Biggest loser in terms of position on lap 1. Well, Wales down 2, Kev's down 2, and Josh is down 2. They are the joint highest droppers, but 2 positions isn't much, so not that bad really. Steersy has created the gap. Could James get a run down to the left-handers? We've got a yellow flag. Something's happened at the back. Chewbacca, and it looks like D-Kit. Gent's on his way, so I don't know if Gent was involved in that. He may well have been, because he is missing his right end plate. I can't see any obvious signs of damage on D-Kit's car. And, oh, Chewbacca flies round the rear end, completely stepping out on him. And I think he's missing his right end plate as well. Although, that's sort of the way the rear end steps out of him through that fast left-hander. I wouldn't surprise me if he's got some sort of other type of damage than just the missing end plate. Whale in P11, unusually, sets fastest lap of the race on lap 2. I say unusually, not because it's well, but because it's not usually the driver in P11 that would set the fastest lap of the race on lap 2. Into the pits are Kevin Chewbacca. So I hadn't realised Kev must have been involved in something, because he's in. Let's get the details back to the tyres. So, well, anybody who's been around here will know the tyre wear is pretty bad. Softs are not going to go very far into this race, guys. I'm thinking lap 5 or 6, pretty much likely to be a pit stop for the soft starters. They will judge that. They will be able to tell as Tolu moves to the inside of James. James seems to just get away from him at the end of the straight, but Tolu has a really good inside line. James goes off. I don't know if he got a little bit of a nudge or not. It was pretty tight. It's no real harm done, but Tolu. So James seems to just get away from him at the end of the straight, and then Tolu had a really good inside line and really kept the car tight to the inside curb. Got him back alongside the RB and able to make the move in the end. It might have been a little nudge that sent James wide on the exit. I'm not sure. It was hard to tell from the angle that I had. So, all very tight. Takes Steersy out of the equation, who's nearly 2.5 seconds up the road from Chris now. As Gent gets 10 seconds speeding in the pit lane. Never good in any race. Certainly not in a sprint race. So, yeah, P2. Right the way down to P12, which is Watson, all in DRS of the car ahead. Tolu gets past Chris to take P2 in the race. You can see that how much DRS is worth, because look at the gap now. Tolu with that DRS has got the gap to Steersy down to 1.5 seconds. That isn't just the DRS. I think the softs are dead. I think the softs are dead and the mediums are flying. Look how quick he's closing the gap to Steersy. I think we're going to see some soft starters in the end of this lap. Because the softs are dead. Look, he's got it to under a second almost. Here it is. There we go. 8 tenths, 7 tenths. I expect Steersy to move to the right, and he does. Well, interesting, because I think these guys need to put on some hards. Tolu sets fastest lap of the race, as you'd almost expect with that DRS run he got down to the chicane. Some soft starters have stayed out, but look at the gap that Tolu is creating over James. Don't think this is the right call. Both RBs stayed out, which is going to be an issue. They're close enough to double stack. And I think we got a Sauber round. It's Barry. Oh, careful, Alpine. He kept having to avoid him. That didn't look great, if I'm honest with you. Barry lets him through. I think realising his mistake there when rejoining. I don't think D-Kit quite knew what to do to get past him, because he was on the inside line on the corner when he was trying to get back going. So went to the outside and saw that gap close very, very quickly. As Gregory now gets past James, the softs are dead. Absolutely dead. I thought it was rather strange when I saw people starting on the softs, if I'm honest. Yeah, look. Some of the guys that have picked have gone to hards. Oh, goodness me. Seeing Gregory just teleport ahead of James there. Hopefully that was a problem on my end and James wasn't seeing the same thing, because that was very off-putting. So Gunnar and James in. Ryan continues on, which he's got to, because, as I said, if he'd have pitted, he would have double stacked behind his teammate. So it should give Ryan a little advantage later in the race, though. Interesting to see. Where did Steers... So Steersy is just going through now. He's up to P6 now. And he did go to the mediums, so it's quite a long run on the mediums. It's probably about what they'll be doing on the mediums in the feature race, so it should be okay. But they will get a little wobbly towards the end of the race. It does just make me wonder. I wonder what Tolu's actually doing. I wonder if these guys that started on the mediums are intending on pitting to hards, or if they're going to try and do the sort of 10 laps and then go to softs to end the race. It'd be 9 or 10. If we got any battles going on, Admiral about half a second up the road from Whale, so they went the opposite. Admiral's gone to mediums, Whale's gone to hards. Whale pitted 1 lap earlier, so he's actually jumped his teammate Whale, so Ozers is now behind him. I don't think that was the case before the pit stops. So the undercut for Whale definitely worked in that sense. He's trying to hold this around the outside of the fast left-hander. He's done it really well, just about kept his tyres inside the white line. From what I could see, there's a little contact between the two. Nothing really to write home about. They're in a party. They'll be in a party together, those two, and I don't think that will cause any arguments. It's only a little love tap. And through goes Whale to take P11. Admiral will be looking to get that straight back on the next lap once he'll have some temperature in to his tyres. So multiple pit stops occurring. Not Tolu though, he's not one of them. So Tolu stayed out, Robin has stayed out and finds himself up in P2 now for Haas. Obviously yet to pit. The gap between Tolu and Steersy is around 15.5 seconds, just coming down to 15.5 seconds. So Steersy will definitely take the lead of the race, but there's no doubt that Tolu will be chasing him down later on. Gregory has gone to softs, that's a mistake. Can't believe he planned that. Do more of the race on softs than he did on mediums. That doesn't really make sense. So a chance here for Gunnar. Picks up DRS behind the McLaren of Chris. Will be through, and that's done way before they get to the braking zone. So Gunnar will hold that. That's Gunnar up to P4. That was a genuine battle for position. Both drivers had pitted. Come down now to this group. P8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 right next to each other on track. Whale leads this group with Admiral just behind, and then Ozers. So Admiral finding himself in a beautiful Ferrari sandwich. He has dreamt of being in this. So Gunnar sets fastest lap. Tolu is in from the lead. Now, where will he come out? Well, he's already exiting. He's going to come out ahead of this group. And just behind Gunnar and Chris. So not too bad. Only problem for him, in my opinion, is that Chris will be getting DRS off of Gunnar, which makes it slightly more difficult to overtake. But his first lap will just be about getting some temperature into these hards. If he can get an opportunity, then great. But because he will want past Chris as soon as possible, you'd imagine once he's past Chris, getting past Gunnar should be relatively easy. Because he'll then have a DRS advantage, but he's probably going to need a real surge of battery down one of these straights in order to get past Chris. I do know that Chris tends to err a little bit on the side of higher downforce, so of all the drivers for him to need to get past like this, Chris is probably one of the better ones for him. As Chris locked up just a couple of corners ago there, we saw just in front of us. That won't help the tyres much. So let's just keep with this battle as we see it materialising. Taking much cleaner lines. Actually goes to the inside, a bit of a lunge, takes advantage of a bit of a gap left on the inside by Chris. That enables him to be a lot closer to the McLaren at the start of the straight, and here he goes with the overtake. Chris only using medium, he knew that that was coming, and Tolu hasn't finished because he's going to try and get Gunnar. He actually touches the back of Gunnar. So much speed going into the braking zone, he couldn't get it stopped quite in time, but it wasn't a bad touch. He didn't even unsettle the car of Gunnar by the looks of it. But here he comes, DRS down to the long left-hander, and through Tolu goes. And I'm not convinced that this sprint race is over yet. We know Steers's speed, so we may be able to keep this gap, but there is a chance, I think, that Tolu could catch him. It would be a case of catching him towards the end of the race, I think. But we'll see how he goes. So now the pit stops have all been carried out. You can see, well, the big jumper through those pit stops up to P7 really made that undercut work. We'll get back down to this group because the same drivers are still battling, and now Falcao has joined them as well. He's getting very close to the back of the Haas. Uniform file through turn 3. Now we head down turn 4, the gentle left-hander after turn 3, and then turn 5, the hairpin. So we had a yellow flag appear on sector 3 there. That was for Chewbacca. Just looking at the track map, he seems to be off and running okay. Well, definitely under attack this time from Admiral. I think Admiral's going to have to leave it for the second straight. That's a little touch on the left rear there of Whale, and Admiral, look at the switchback sort of move that he's gone for, and I don't think there's a lot that Whale's going to be able to do to defend this. Will Ozers go past his teammate as well? He will. He's got the fresher hard tyres, only by a lap. He does have the fresher tyre. Ferraris make that work pretty well, so Ozers will now go after Admiral. I think that will be, because they will all be in a party together, and I'm pretty sure that, well, probably would have waved Ozers on there in the party. So Ozers, you go through as well, because you've got the lap fresher tyre to attack Admiral. Admiral would have said, please no, and the Pride voice would have said, ah, hell yeah. So further down, not really much going on in the way of battles, although JT Gent is on the back of Barry. Tolu's got that gap at the front down to 3 seconds, by the way, so that is really eating into that. As I say, I think he's going to catch Steersy towards the end of the race. As we get a yellow flag, it's Chewbacca again, who's round, I think, in the same place as he did last lap. Now, is Chewbacca the one who has said I think he was the driver that I said I think he might have more than just the front wing damage that he had earlier on. And I think 2 more spins there tells us almost certainly that he's probably got maybe some sort of rear wing damage, I would imagine. That's usually what unsettles the car. So JT Gent, I don't know if he could do about Barry here. Maybe a bit far back for this first straight, but could he get close enough for the second straight? If not, he just needs to bide his time, because Barry is on the sauce. We saw how quickly those died in the first stints. Barry's already completed. This is his 6th lap on those softs, so they will be absolutely hurting. As Gregory loses out to Ozers and Admiral, so he's down to P8, so his softs are already crying now. Whale will be pretty desperate to get past as quick as possible here. Does he have the straight line speed to do it? So, yellow flag comes out. I think that was James. Not sure exactly what. Seems to be anything major anyway. Certainly not got any damage. Well, Tolu's 5.5 seconds back, so Tolu's made a mistake. So that ruins our finale, I think, for the race win. But Tolu, he must have made a mistake. He had that gap, last I looked, was down to 3 seconds and gaining. It's now 5.5, so clearly a mistake from Tolu. Chewbacca's round again, this time out of turn 1. And off he goes again. So Yeah, I stick by what I said. I'm confident Chewbacca's got rear wing damage. So Ozers, is there anything that Ozers can do here? Because one thing I will say that it does make this a bit difficult for Ozers is in recent times Admiral has been running very low wings on his setups, so it does make him difficult to get past. And so Tolu's into the pits. He made a big mistake. He needs a wing change. Well, Tolu, did he think this might be strategical to be able to pit and then get back to P10 to get pole for the race? If there was any chance that he could finish the race, then he may as well have just done that. He's going to come out P15 behind Kev. No, he's not. He's going to come out P16 behind D-Kit. Ozers once again gets so close to Admiral. Look at the line that Admiral takes there. He knows Ozers can't get past in that little chicane. So he deliberately just runs a little bit wider to open up the second part of the chicane in order to defend. Ozers going to get close again, but can't get alongside. Ozers needs to follow that line that Admiral took through the chicane next time. As Admiral locks up, he's under pressure, and Chewbacca retires out. He's allowed to do that in the sprint, by the way. We don't penalise drivers retiring out of the sprints. We've never done that, so... But as I said, even if we did, I'm 100% sure that he had rear wing damage. He's left the session. We don't want him doing that. He was asked to remain in the lobby. Maybe he's gone off just because he's got a couple of laps. Maybe he's gone off to do something on time trial or something. Maybe he's set up a adjustment or something. So Ozer's looking to get that tight line that enables him to open up the steering. He's pretty close. I think he's got a chance. Admiral, I reckon, will have already thought he's probably going to get me here. So Admiral's going to try and... Well, he's going to try and defend it. Just to make the corner, just about, leaving enough room. Ozers once again not really close enough coming out of the chicane. Admiral so confident he actually switched his battery off in order to gain a bit back. It's going to be some final lap battle between these two. Oh, Ozers he's a bit of a love tap there to Admiral, who's, I think that signs that Admiral's tyres are really hurting in comparison. Admiral knows that pretty much all he's got to do is keep the car on the racing line and defend the straights. If he can do that, he can fend Ozers off. But what's Ozers' best play now? Is he going to try and stay close for the first part of the straight, or is he going to try and stay close to the second part? Because if he does get through on the first part of the straight, you wouldn't bet against Admiral coming back at him with his straight line speed. Looks to me like Ozers is going to attack on the second straight. He needs to keep this line really tight to the left-hand side. Look at the way that Admiral opens up the corner to get a better exit. Or slows Ozers down by opening up the corner for himself. And this has been super defence from Admiral. Absolutely nothing wrong with what he's doing there. Absolutely superb defence from Admiral. It's very tight when they went side by side through the chicane, but I don't think there was anything actually wrong. Just switching to Steersy, Chris and Gunnar are side by side, so Steersy is going to cross the line and win the sprint. I think Gunnar's got the P2. It's really tight between Chris and Gunnar, but Gunnar is going to cross the line for P2. Chris in P3, James takes P4. Admiral will cross the line after superb defence against Ozers to finish P5. Ozers takes 6, Watson 7, Whale 8, Falcao in 9, Gregory in P10, which will see him start pole for the main race. Ryanair finishes P11. Josh in 12. Really well done, Josh. That's good sprint race from you. Tolu in the end finishes P13. Robin in 14. Kev 15. D-Kit 16. Gent will take P17, and it's going to be Barry in 18 with Chewbacca, our only DNF. As I said, it's absolutely obvious that he had rear wing damage on the car, but did his best to keep going for some time, to be fair to him. Barry crossed the line. Did he jump Gent? I think he did. I think Barry jumped Gent up into P17. Yes, he did. So we know that Gent had a speeding in the pit lane penalty of 10 seconds, so that's what it was. So I've just got the standings to come up then. Skip past all this because it just eats up the time for me. So there we go. We've already been down the order in a way as they were crossing the line. So there we have the results of the sprint, including penalties, just in case they need to be looked at. Tolu set fastest lap in the sprint, 1 minute 24.430. I'm just going to go through incidents, a few collision warnings. Whale collision with Watson got a warning there. That was towards the end, but most of the warnings were early in the race. Lap 1, all those lap 1, some on lap 2 there, collision with James Tolu. So yeah, a couple of warnings for collisions that may end up getting looked at by stewards, but provisionally at least, those are our sprint results, meaning that Gregory will start pole for the feature race. They're going to have to sort that out, guys, so I'm going to take that opportunity to go and take a break. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, so please don't go anywhere, but they just need a bit of time to sort out the grid before going out, and they will also have a bit of time to put on their setups, etc., and do their strategies, so just bear with, but I'll be back shortly. Okay guys, back with you, ready for the feature race, which will be coming very shortly. Where did I put my coffee? I just made a coffee, but I don't have it with me. What did I do with that? I must have left it by the kettle. Yes, I did. What a silly hilly. Ooh, what was that? Somebody streaming. There you go. Right. Here we go, on to the formation lap then. So as you can see, the order's all changed. So let's get some details. So excuse me. Right, okay. Sorry, just had to change to unravel the wire on my headset because that was going to irritate me all race. In a way, so Gregory starts on pole with Falcao alongside in second. Wales starts P3 with Watson in 4. Ozer starts in 5. Admiral alongside in P6. James in 7 with Chris alongside in 8. Daguna starts P9 alongside Steersy in 10. Ryanair in 11 with Josh in 12. Tolu starts P13 with Robin in 14. Kev in 15 with D-Kit alongside in 16. JT Chent starts 17 with Barry alongside in P18. Chewbacca hasn't come back for the feature race, so obviously didn't enjoy it and his time out there and decides not to do the feature, so we'll ask him about that at a later point, but a shame, but we still have the 18 drivers. As you can see on the screen there, 16 out of the 18 drivers starting on the medium tyre. Only Tolu in P13 and Barry in P18. Both drivers who are out of position, you would say, so not that big a surprise to see him starting in 18 on the hards. I mean, might not give them the best of starts off the line, but will enable them to attack throughout the first stint once they got them up to temperature. Admiral, D-Kit, JT Gen all miss their grid slots and starts about a metre back, roughly half a metre, something like that. 3, 4, 5 lights are on. Much shorter pulls this time. Again, both drivers at the front seem to get off to a pretty decent start. Watson off to a really good start and is alongside Whale going into turn 1. A few drivers alongside there. Ozer's making his way through up to P6. Trying to see somebody's dropping down. I can't work out who it is. It's Gooner. It's the Gooner who's round at turn 1. Tolu as well. Something went wrong for at the start, and Josh. So all sorts going on. Now, they weren't together on the grid, those three drivers, so my suspicion is... Oh! Josh can't make the corner and smashes into the wall. My suspicion is that one spun, maybe Gunnar spun further up, and the others got caught up in it. There was a yellow flag there at the chicane, but it's disappeared pretty quickly. I'm not sure if anything really happened. But anyway, Whale is making a move on Falcao to take the lead of the race. He just got a little bit too eager on the inside, got a little bit out of shape, gave Gregory a chance to come back at him, but couldn't do that. And so Whale holds on to P2 in the end, but looking in good shape as Josh is out of the race at the big left-hander, and that sees a full safety car come out. Hey Rich, hopefully I'll be back to... Well, hopefully you are, man, because you're a very competitive driver. So I look forward to seeing you back once you're up to speed on that wheel. I bought a wheel myself, mate, so I've got a wheel, which I've never used before. So I've only used it a couple of times since I've had it. So, but just a couple of times that I did attempt it, I know the pain that you're going through, but with the excitement as well. So an early safety car sees a couple of drivers pit, Chris and D-Kit in. They are heading both onto the hards. A chance for anybody who had damage to get rid of it, and a chance for those that were in instance at the start to get back. Josh, well, that lasted long, got taken out and Carmen's in with the damage. Yeah, I saw at the hairpin that the damage is seriously damaged. Well, hurt the turning on the car, and obviously it's done you at the big left-hander as well at the end of the straight. But so unlucky, man. I didn't actually get to see what happened to you guys, but I know that Gunnar spun a bit further up. I assume there was contact in turn 1 for him. And I'm guessing that you and Tolu got caught up in it in some way, shape or form. But as I say, I didn't actually see what happened, so I'm not too sure. What we almost saw there, though, was Whale nearly took the lead of the race at the big left-hander. He got to the inside of Falcao and looked for all the world like he was actually going to get the move done, but just got a little bit of curb on the inside, which unsettled the car, and immediately come under attack from Gregory. So close for Wells to take the lead of the race there, but not on this occasion. So Falcao retains that. Let's have a quick look at the position changes again, just to see what the big gainers are. So really, Steersy up 3, Robin up 4, Kev up 4, Gent and Barry both up 5 each. Chris down 8. Obviously, we've lost Josh. Daguna down 6. And now Ozer's into the pits. So he's going to be dropping down to the back. It's a big decision that for the Ferrari man. He's been in superb form recently. Driver of the day last week, picking up a podium. You got Will, says Rich. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've got the Mozart 3, and I've got the Formula mod to go with it, so that the steering wheel looks like a Formula 1 wheel. And since I got the mod, I've not used it. I've only used it when it was a round steering wheel. But I will be getting onto it, and I will be practicing. It's just now's probably a good time for me to start practicing, actually. So because I'm not in any real contention of any championships this season, whereas I was last season, so I stuck to pad. This season I've not really started as well so far, so maybe a great chance for me to switch my attention to getting across onto wheel. But, in a way, the only 2 drivers that are where they started the race are Watson and Gent. Watson in P4, Gent in P17. So I assume Gent then must have just pitted again, because, or pitted, because, yeah, he did, because Ozers would have dropped to the back, so the fact that he hasn't meant Gent must have pitted. A couple of drivers changing positions there. You can't do that under safety car, so be careful. Please remember the rules under safety cars, guys. You cannot drive alongside the driver in front of you. You must stay firmly behind until the line is crossed. Then you can go racing. I had something in another league where we were heading to the line after a safety car at Canada, and I had a driver on both sides of me. I was like, what are you doing? You can't come alongside. So after the line, so I braked before the line and made them both get warnings to give the place back. So I got told off for doing that, but sod it. I didn't brake as such, it just lifted, because obviously they were going flat out, so yeah, that was quite fun. Anyway, we are off and running as Falcao crosses the line, so looking to see if anybody's been called out, if anybody's got a run. Can't see anyone at the moment with a run on the car ahead of them. Does look like Falcao got a really good restart though, maybe caught well napping a little bit. So the top 10, all medium starters, all have stayed out. Then Barry and Tolu both on the hards. So interesting to see Barry's gotten ahead of Tolu at some stage, although of course Tolu was involved in that first lap incident in some way or another. Got caught up in it, I think. It's just in the top left hand side of the screen, guys, if you're watching, it's got a yellow flag. Just ignore that. It's a safety car glitch on the game where the yellow flag stays there, but there isn't any yellow flags out across the track at the moment. So, Wells caught back into the 1 second of Falcao, but Gregory's actually managed to create a 1 second to Watson as Gunnar spins at the chicane. So, not the start to this race that the Sauber man, the Sauber Championship contender, would have been looking for at all, but Gunar's experienced enough to know that there is a long way to go in this Abu Dhabi race, and a lot can change from here. And he's got the pace to get back up there, so this race is not over for him. He can still get a very strong result. He'll be obviously looking to make pit stops work to his advantage. Just wanted to have a quick look and make sure he hasn't got any damage. I don't think he has. I think it was just a little spin at the chicane. It's not going to give me the... hopefully here. Come on, so I don't want to miss the first lap. Laps with DRS. No, yep, no damage. So we're okay. Just don't want to miss the first laps with DRS down the straights. So, only 2 1-second gaps. Gregory Whale does not have DRS, so Gregory with a chance. He's had to back out. Don't think he quite knew what the Ferrari man was doing there, and didn't seem to make any real solid move himself as to which side he was going to go, so it's a bit strange, that one. Tolu further down was the other one with the opportunity, and he did get it to work. But Gregory is alongside Whale. He's alongside on the outside, but he gets the better run. This is playing into Falcao's hands, who's built a 1.5 second gap at this point. He will know he needs to build that gap at the moment, because he's going to have a charging Steersy coming through the field, along with others that want to catch him and take the win. So Falcao was a very strong driver last season. Maybe hasn't got to the same start this season, but he hasn't lost that ability. He's still a very good driver, is Falcao. So he has the ability to go out and win this race. So there's no doubt about that. As Tolu sets fastest lap, Admiral and Steersy alongside. Steersy risking a bit of overtake, going for it through turns 2 and 3, and manages to get it done. So Steersy gets ahead of Admiral. That's up to P6 now. James is next up. James looking his usual fast self these days. Almost all of the admin team has joined another league, which does pace divisions, and every single one of them have made noticeable improvements since they joined that league. I think I'm the only admin that has. Maybe Chris as well. I don't think Chris has. It's very tight there between Barry and Ozers. I think Barry's saying, "This is my corner, Ozers. You ain't getting past." Simple as that. But he is going to get past here on the straight, surely. He goes to the outside of the Sauber, ready for the big left-hander, and has it done before they reach the corner. Just about, but did have it done before they got there. A little move going on behind Chris on Gent. This is going to be tight as they go round to the slow right-hander. Chris needs to leave the room on the inside, does that. Gent does jump over the curb, but I think the room was left. He kept picking up 3 seconds. First to do that in the feature race, but I'm sure won't be the last as Gent gets completely out of shape there. Gunnar, you just about saw come into your picture, catching onto the back of the group. Once he's on that group takes him all the way up to Kev, I think it is, in P11. And at the... Oh, Kev's round! Kev spun it through turn 2. That's that inside curb that I mentioned. It's a horrible curb. You've got to... It's so easy to do that. It's the curb on turn 2 and 3 on the inside. It's usually at the start of the race it's okay and you can just fly over it, but as your tyres get worn, it just gets a little bit more difficult. What happened to Gunnar? He spun at turn 1 at the start, but I don't know how. I didn't catch how, so I don't know if he was clipped or anything like that, as Barry makes a mistake at the chicane and drops to P14. But so I'm assuming there was some sort of contact, but I don't know who with. And then I think Josh and Tolu both got caught up in it as well. Although Tolu, as you can see, has recovered really well to get back up to P8, because he was down, I think, in P16 at one stage. So Tolu showing that pace that he showed in the sprint race. That's sort of recovered from that and is only 2 cars behind. Well, not the car in front, that's Admiral, but the car in front of that is Steersy, so... What a recovery from Tolu so far. Let's see if we can keep that up. He's got that different strategy going on as well, having started on the hards. It'll be interesting to see how that comes out. It's also going to be interesting to see what these guys' strategy is that pitted under that safety car and went to the hard tyres so early in the race. Depends what they took 2 sets of. If they got 2 sets of hards, then they're presumably going hard. So Kev is into the pits, so you would assume that he got some sort of damage. Steersy really staying close to James. Doesn't really have the battery though, so I don't think he's going to be able to attack James here. I think Steersy might have to just sit behind James here and recharge his battery up before he can really go about making any moves. There's contact ahead. That's Falco and Gregory both round. Oh dearie me, they've made contact into the big left-hander. They were P1 and P2, and they dropped down to P8 and P10. It's a disaster for those two, but look at this. Whale leads. Watson in P2, James in 3. As D-Kit is out, and that brings out another safety car. Oh, the leaders. Did Whale manage to get into the pits? He did. That is vital from Whale. Yeah, I think he would have got round and got ahead of the safety car because it's such a long exit for the safety car here. I don't know why, but the safety car is not at the end of the pit lane here, so I think he would have been fine. As Tolu stays out, and yeah, look, Tolu gets ahead of the safety car before it exits, so well, most definitely would have. So what a horrible part of the race this is for the guys that are on hards, because it's too early for them to switch to mediums and go to the end of this race. So the only way any of those guys could pit was if they had another set of hards to go to. So Whale pits from the lead and ends up P6. Not convinced he would have thought that he'd actually come out P6 there. You probably would have thought that everybody was going to head to the pits. So yeah, I think anybody pitting to hards can do it, Endor, but yeah, if you were pitting to mediums, you'd have no chance. But hards probably can. You might have to be a little bit easy on them. So for example, the big left-hander at the end of the second straight, you know, no going absolute flat through there as fast as you can. You need to just be a little bit nice to the tyres, keep the temperature down, and that will see you save a lot of percentage on those right-sided tyres. So a bit of tyre management, I think you can get to the end of the race on hards from here, but not easily, and you will be slow right at the end of the race, so be interesting. Yeah, possible though, definitely. But as I say, for these top 5, I mean, great, because they're now in the top 5. Can you believe Barry is back up to the top 5? JT Gent, not so much Gent, but Barry had a horrible start to this race. But in his Tolu, in his Oza, you've got to wonder now why they stayed out if they're just pitting now. I can't believe for a second that mediums are going to get to the end of this race. I'm not 100% sure what lap. Not sure. I'm not 100% sure what lap we're on, because where you guys can see the lap on the stream, I've got a little thing there which has the red dot, the microphone and video thing. So I can't actually see the laps, but I'm looking at the stream myself and can see it's lap 10. So yeah, 10 to 29. The mediums ain't doing it. So yeah, well, it's disaster for Tolu, quite honestly. I wonder if he's got another set of hards, and he might just, well, might he risk just actually pitting again at the end of this lap? I mean, I can see if he's having to pit to mediums, I can see the idea of staying out the extra lap so it's one less lap they've got to do, even if it is under safety car, but they're just not getting to the end. And even if they could survive, technically, they would be so slow in the last 7 laps, say. It just won't work. So for me, at the moment, it's advantage to those guys that have just pitted to fresh hards. So Whale will be very hopeful here of being able to get past Barry and Chris as quick as possible. Just check those 2 penalties. I'm confident they're both free set. Oh no, No, Chris's is a free second. Falcao's got a drive through. Okay. Well, even worse for Falcao then. So not only has he had a collision from leading the race, but I can't comment on that collision as to who was at fault because I simply did not see it. So we were on board with another driver and just saw both cars off to the side of the track as we came round. So I didn't see the actual collision, so I've got no idea. Just presumably they were side by side going into the big left-hander. And it's ended in tears. That was Falcao and Gregory. It was a big moment in this race, and both will still be hopeful of recovery, and obviously Falcao with a drive-through, it's going to be very difficult for him now. Gunnar right back in the race now, sits in P15 but has fresh hards on. So a chance, an opportunity for him to be able to make his way through the field. Kev opted to wait right to the last lap to be able to pit. So he's coming out on nice fresh hards with nothing on him at all. He will catch up to the back of the safety car with ease, so doesn't need to rush. Although he might actually take the opportunity to stick a little bit of temperature into the tyres, because we know how cold they are, the hards, when you come out. So it won't absolutely, it's not going to cook them, but he might just take a couple of the corners a little bit faster than you normally would on an outlap under a safety car. But so just stick a little bit of heat into them. You could have a little advantage off the restart then, but because all these guys obviously on hards in this long train, their tyres are going to be absolutely freezing cold. It's almost impossible to keep the heat in the hards. It's softs, I think, is relatively easy to keep the heat in them, but with a bit of swirl, a bit of weaving. Mediums, it's sort of quite difficult. Problem with soft and mediums as well is too much weaving. You put actual wear onto them, whereas the hards don't really have any issues with that, but they don't really keep the temperature either. So all you're really doing is stopping them getting colder and colder. The safety car has stayed out another lap. I actually didn't think that safety car would stay out another lap. I thought it would come in regardless, but it hasn't, so that will allow Kev, who I thought would actually catch the back of the safety car comfortably on that outlap, but didn't. Going to help all those guys that have pitted to hards even more get to the end, and maybe that was the thinking for Kev. Maybe there was a little bit of tactics there. If he knew that the safety car would do another lap if he didn't catch it, maybe there's a little bit of tactics going on there, knowing that he will make the end of the race. Because if you started on the mediums, you were probably going to be pitting somewhere in the region of lap 12. Lap 11, 12, 13, I think would have been the three main pit laps for medium starters. So he's right on that. So maybe a little bit of tactics going on there from Kev, and he hope that comes back to aid him later in the race. So I think all these guys that have gone to hards under this safety car will be going to the end. But who knows? We could have another one yet. Chris and Barry will both be hoping for another one. They'd like one pretty quickly. Within sort of 3 or 4 laps of the restart, they will be wanting one. So that'd be an awkward one, because that would make it difficult for the guys that are on fresh hards now to make a decision as to whether to pit again. So Whale, as I say, will be looking to get past Barry and Chris as quick as possible, but at the same time he's going to have Watson and James attacking him, and of course after James is Steersy and Tolu, who have looked rapid. So a lot to fight for in this race. Something tells me that it's not finished, as we see a little bit of debris. I don't think that's actual debris off of someone's car. Ryanair gets past Falcao, but that's shortly before the line, and he's going to have to give that place back. So, yeah, I think he's slowing down. He's trying to, I don't think Falcao realises, but Ryanair had to give the place back, and he's trying to do it obviously before he gets a penalty. So maybe a bit of confusion, and as you can see, that's created a gap of over 2.5 seconds between Admiral in 8th. So Whale trying to save a bit of battery down the straight as that Aston gets alongside the Red Bull. Nothing done though. Tolu stays ahead of Steersy. And Whale gets past Barry, so he's got one of them. Watson is trying to follow through. He's around the outside of the fast right-handers, but the extra grip, of course, on his tyres means he can really take a lot more pace through there, and he gets the move done as well. So Whale up to 2, Watson up to 3. James has the same job to do now, but it's in a much more difficult part of the track. He may not even get the opportunity until we get back to the straights, which could see Whale and Watson create a gap. Falcao picks up 3 seconds as things go from bad to worse for the Williams man. I've got a feeling, because he's gone into service drive-through, that he's probably picked that up on the pit entry. Now, as long as he just touched the curb and he didn't actually cut the corner, he may be able to get that removed, but he'd have to get no more warnings for the rest of the race. As Tolu gets past James and Barry. What a move from Tolu. So he's up to P4. He's on a charge at this point of the race. We know he's almost certainly, I'm like 99% sure that Tolu will have to pit again. As Barry is, as you'd expect, to be fair, on 13 lap old hards. Okay, a lot of the laps done under safety car, but they're still going to have a lot of wear on him in comparison to those guys around him. So Gunnar getting past Gregory. He's up to P11 now. He could be onto a really good comeback. Next up for him is the Ferrari of Ozers. The laps on those tyres could be a little bit misleading. It looks like Ozer's got a lap advantage over Gunnar, but he hasn't really, because it was under safety car. So on hards, they might not even put 1% on all 4 tyres around a lap under safety car around here. So you might put a little bit. You might put 1% on a couple of the tyres, probably the right-handed ones, but probably not on the left. As Steersy makes his way past James. So Tolu looking next to get past Watson. I'll tell you what, Chris at the front, when you consider the life of the tyres, he's showing some decent pace to keep that gap to Whale. Okay, Whale is in the DRS, so he is catching him. But you'd have almost thought that Whale was certain to be on the back of him for DRS on the 2 straights to get an easy overtake. He probably is going to get the overtake here down to the left-hander. Chris is actually out of battery. He wasn't, I thought maybe he was just saving, but he wasn't. He was actually out of battery. This gives Whale a chance maybe to create a little gap through sector 3. To create a gap to Watson before Watson gets past Chris, but of course in turn, if he actually pulled away from Chris and created a second, that would just leave Chris vulnerable to Watson, who would then catch him again with DRS down the straight. So maybe Whale's best move here would actually be almost to hold Chris within DRS at arm's length so he can't get past, but say at the moment, despite the age of the tyres, Chris's pace still looks very, very strong. As Tolu gets past Watson, these guys need to almost forget about Tolu at this stage. I wouldn't, if I'm seeing he's on mediums after that safety car, I probably wouldn't even bother battling him here. He's gone to the inside of Well, that's a bit optimistic. He may not have even meant to do that. He was just carrying so much speed down the straight, having picked up DRS and toe off of Chris. that maybe found that his usual braking spot wasn't actually early enough and ended up alongside Well. But I don't think Well needs to panic about that. I don't think he needs to really think about Tolu at this stage. Even if Tolu does make the end of this race, his tyres are going to absolute die to death later in the race. So perhaps look to try and use Tolu as a way of keeping DRS if he can, because you'd imagine the fight is going to come from Steersy very soon, who's right on the back of Watson. James getting past Chris, that's because Chris is into the pits. So he's in. It could be an attempt here from Chris to actually undercut Tolu. I'm pitting now. It's also going to send him to the back, pretty much. Well, Barry pitted as well, and Falcao having served that drive-through. I think he is going to get past Chris and Barry. So Chris is going to have to get past Falcao, but you would think that once Chris catches him, he'd just have an easy DRS overtake. So Watson and Wells, Steersy not close enough. Nobody close enough in this top group at this stage. Kev making a move on Robin. Robin does his best, but Kev does get the move done. So up to P11 for Kev. Steersy be over the moon with that one from his teammate. Good move from Kev. Gent now all over the back of Robin as well. He wants through. Robin in the same boat as Tolu. Had to pit some mediums under that safety car, so surely going to have to pit again. When things aren't going for you in a race, it just seems like it never rains but it pours. And to have two safety cars and both of them come before the pit time for the hard starters. We only had two of, remember. So Robin in already. He's felt clearly that with those guys getting past it, his mediums are already dying. Now, Steersy very close to Watson this time round. He does have a battery advantage of about 20%. So can he use that to his advantage down these two straights? You can see the red flashing light on the back of the Haas. That's red rag to a bull. And through goes Steersy, gets the move done nicely and cleanly. And he's now on the back of Whale. You can almost hear Whale saying, "Ah, no." If Whale drops the DRS here, he's just got back within the 1 second. You just know that if he drops the DRS of Tolu, then he's going to be sitting duck for the Aston Martin. So it's really tight. Well, might actually have to use a bit of battery just to make sure it stays within that 1 second as they head to the detection zone. Chris on those fresh tyres sets fastest lap of the race. He's quick, very quick. Tolu, as I say, if he has to pit, we're so sure that he must have to. Not even at the end of this lap, there's still 10 laps to go. He must have to pit again, surely. And if he does, you'd imagine that Chris is going to get that gap down so that he jumps him quite significantly, you'd think. So, not happening this time around for Steersy. Anybody else got a run? Doesn't look like it. Moses is pretty close to the back of Gunnar if he gets the opportunity. Again, a yellow flag showing up, but I think that's still glitched from the safety car because there's nothing on the track map. Yeah, I think so as well. If I'm honest, Emdor, I can't see how Tolu can possibly get to the end, and even if he does, he can't get to the end with any real pace, surely. So you think at some point, Whale and Steersy will both make their way past him, which is then going to leave Whale vulnerable. Taking very different lines there, look, through the hairpin. Steersy's burning. Both burning. Steersy had the battery advantage. He gets alongside. Oh, what a horrible angle from the broadcast cam. Steersy, I think, is going to go for basically a switchback here. He should get a better exit. Well, seems to get a pretty decent exit there. They're both basically out of battery here. But they are literally both on 0%. So, Steersy trying to go around the outside. Well fends him off. Well will now be on the inside for the long right-handers. Steersy is alongside. Well's going to squeeze into the outside. And defends really well. Really good defending from Whale. Squeezed Steersy, but left plenty of room. There's definitely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. That was really good defence from the Ferrari man. So, the fact that, well, those guys are battling like that Tolu still cannot break a 1 second, tells us his tyres are dying. There's no doubt about it. Gregory into the pits. So he doesn't feel like he's going to making the end of the race. Maybe a gamble from Gregory, because due to where he was, maybe a gamble from him, thinking that maybe some of these other drivers on hards might not make the end of the race. So if he pits now, he may be able to undercut any that can't. So, might be quite clever that from Gregory, although I am expecting these hard guys to make the end. Tolu might be gambling on the idea that they can't. So, you would think that Tolu's better strategy here, if assuming he does have to pit, if he feels that some of these hard guys might have to pit, then surely his better strategy would be to pit now, basically, so that he can undercut, but I still don't think they do. Things might be a bit difficult reaching the end of the race. When you get towards the end, things may get a bit slippery, but it's still better than the time that you lose through the pit stop. Let's get this beautiful, lovely helicopter cam. Love this camera. We're all aboard the Tolu train at the moment. And it's allowing drivers behind to start closing the gap. Ryan is just sneaking towards it. Gunnar's now right on the back of Ryan. Ozis has dropped off from Gunnar since we last saw him. Surely, this is where we need to be though, surely. Both drivers entering the straight with almost identical battery. We've lost Barry, and it's on track. We have a full course yellow, but I cannot see the safety car, so I think we are under VSC. Tolu will be saying, why on earth? Or not why on earth, but why can't we be closer to the pit lane so I could pit under this VSC? At least it would limit the damage. You'll be hoping the VSC's still out by the time we get round, but surely it will come in. I'm going to have to keep looking at the track map to see when this ends, because there it is. The VSC ends. Nothing's popped up saying anybody's gotten any drive-throughs, so I think everybody was okay on the restart. Yellow staying up in the top left screen. Why haven't they fixed that yet? It's been happening since the start of the game. You would think they would have sorted that out by now. Told hanging on for a safety car, I imagine, as long as it... Yeah, you would think so. It's basically the only thing you can do at this stage. There's a McLaren round. That's Chris. Oh, that work on the undercut. And he's been round, gent into the pits. Gent doesn't fancy doing the end of the race on the hards. Say, guys, don't forget, these hards aren't really 14 laps old. They were under safety car. Well, doesn't come to the insides of the fence, so Steersey's going to try and outbrake him. And they're side by side on the exit. It looks like Steersey's just nipped ahead. Both out of battery. Well, actually, Wells still got some. So Well may be able to nip this back. Still come flying round the quick left-hander. Steersey on the inside. Can Well keep it alongside for the right-handers? Not quite. So Steersey through and into P2. And he will surely now go after Tolu. Whale fought so hard and so well. And who knows, it may not be over yet. So just to update you, Ryanair and Gunnar are absolutely now on the back of this train, by the way. So this train goes from P1 to P7 on lap 24 of the race. What an outstanding race we're having once again on a Tuesday night. Go into this each week almost thinking that the likes of Steersey and perhaps Tolu, with especially Steersey with his quali pace, that we're just going to see him disappear into the distance, and week in, week after week, it just doesn't happen. Gregory getting past Chris further down. That's a DRS move down the first straight. Gregory with the 4-lap younger mediums. You would fancy him holding Chris off, who has a penalty as well, to make it a little bit easier. Very unlucky for Chris, if in all fairness. Drove really, really well. He showed great pace on the worn hards after the safety car restart. But it's just not happened, and he's made an individual error at some stage, which means that any sort of undercut he might have been hoping for is just gone. And you've got to assume now that Tolu, as you said, he's hoping for a safety car at some point. But you've got to assume that he's going to try and get these mediums to the end. I think if he wasn't, then surely... Oh, Gunnar's in! Gunnar, who had made his way onto the back of the train at the front. There's a yellow flag just appeared. I'm not sure who... Oh, it's Tolu! Now, is this a puncture? No, I can't see any puncture there, so I think it's just a spin. So Tolu round, I think it was turn 3, presumably with the worn tyres. You can only assume he's touched the curb, and the car didn't like it, the tyres didn't like it, as James gets past Watson. Watson having a super race, by the way. Watson, Admiral Whale, all having super races. Deny that Steers is having one too, having now made his way to the front of the field. Ryanair also brilliant race so far. Some runs wide there. So the little signs like that happening that is showing us that the hards are struggling. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So I think I can see why Gunnar's pitted now. He's okay. He was on the back of the group. But this is a gamble from Gunnar. He is gambling on the idea that these guys won't make the end of the race, or at least some of them won't. And Tolu is in. Such a good effort from Tolu. I absolutely respect it, but in the end, the tyres just couldn't do it. So he's going to go to a set of softs and look to set fastest lap of the race. But it does mean that he loses out to Gunnar and Chris now as well. Seems to be stationary there, so serving some sort of penalty. Chance for James on Admiral. No. Oh, James is going to switch back. Admiral's straight line speed might just prove too much. Both out of battery. Actually, technically, Admiral has a little bit left. Even though James had more going onto the straight, he went right down to 0, whereas Admiral only went down to 5%. Oh, a little lock up there from Admiral. I think James might have as well. It's not so easy to see if the car that you're actually on board with locks up. So, Watson does look to me like he's struggling a bit at this stage with the tyres. Just seeing him go wide on a few corners. Hasn't picked up a penalty at this stage, but obviously if you slow when you go wide so as not to gain an advantage when you go off track, then you can avoid getting the warnings. It tends to be the ones that are very close, the ones where you're just about over the line, where you do get the warning, because you can't be sure, so you're not going to slow down just on the off chance that you're slightly off. But a good move there from Ryan into the hairpin. Can he hold Watson off down the straight? Watson is coming back at him. He moves to the inside. Oh, again, it's giving me a horrible broadcast cam. Why is it suddenly doing that? It was all good cameras in the sprint. Now, did they both get DRS? Yes, they did. Head then down to the fast left-hander. We're still side by side. Watson had the inside, seemed to get in front, but then Ryan came back onto the inside behind him and got alongside again, but Watson does retake the position as Falcao retires from this race in the pits. Hopefully he's got some sort of damage that will stop him getting the penalty. Listening, Falcao, don't forget, if you did have rear wing or side pod or whatever, don't forget to get proof, otherwise you get the 5-point deduction for you and your team. This appears to be his teammate that's missing tonight. So very unlucky for Falcao. Was doing so well early in the race. I've no idea what happened, but they clearly came together, him and Gregory. But as I say, no idea what actually happened. There's Toru now with his fresh soft sets, fastest lap of the race, 1:24.563. I'm pretty sure that's going to stand. Steersy leads. Steersy leads Whale. He's not disappearing, is he? Yeah, well, did have DRS, so he'll be so hoping he can stay within this. He needs to try and stay within the DRS. Just one lap to go after this one. Can well hold the DRS for the final lap to fight off Admiral, because you know if he doesn't, Admiral's straight line speed is clearly very strong. We've seen it all night. At the moment he's looking good to hold on to it well, but just needs to get through this first sector clean. If he gets through the first sector clean, then he can stay on the back of Steersy. He's not only on the back of him, maybe he's close enough. Could he actually have a chance? It's a long shot. It's a long shot. I thought we were going to be seeing Whale having to fight off Admiral on this last lap, but maybe, just maybe. No, I think he's too far back, if I'm honest, and Steersy's got about a 10% battery advantage. Whale will just be wanting this P2, I think, because what a result this would be today for him. And multiple drivers giving me a driver of the day headache again, but I think, barring any last sector shenanigans, I don't think I would dare take it away from Whale. Making a Ferrari driver 2 weeks in a row, albeit different drivers. Ferrari on for a strong result in 2 and 7 at the moment. What do RB are 4th and 6th, but James has a pen. So over the line, Steersy comes to win in Abu Dhabi, but Whale takes an awesome P2. Admiral in 3, James crosses in 4 and does hold Watson off to stay P4 despite the penalty. Watson then takes P5, Ryanair 6, Ozer 7, Gunnar recovers to 8th, Gregory P9, Chris is going to take P10, is he? Or is Robin going to nick it back? I don't know, because it says 2 seconds, it says 1 second, it says 7 seconds, but as we can see quite clearly, Robin is going to jump him. So Robin gets his, I believe, his first top 10 in WAOF1. So well done, Robin. Apologies if I got that wrong, but I think that's right. Chris in P11, Tolu in the end finishes P12. His teammate Gent is going to come across for P13. Kev then is going to take P14, so a wonderful overtake from Kev earlier in the race. Is going to be a P14. So congratulations to Steersy, Whale and Admiral for the podiums, and to all the drivers who finished the race. Really well done. I'm just going to double check the Alcal leaves. I'm just going to double check these standings here. So Welford second, Steersy 10th to first, Admiral 6th to first. I mean, there's James 7th to 4th. There's some great shouts. Ryanair as well, 11th to 6th. Superb drives going on. Robin 14 to 10. What a brilliant result that is for Robin. There's some really great drives through the field there, guys. Let me just get to the bottom of that. Fastest lap of the race, 1:24.563 from Tolu. But I'm not in a million years am I going to take the driver of the day off a Whale. Absolutely superb race from him, and so close to maybe nicking a race win. But I think he's got to be over the moon with second. In all fairness, I don't think there was much more he could have done on that last lap. He tried to stay close to Steersy. He gave it a shot, but just wasn't close enough on the straight to actually have a go at him. But what a result for Whale. Yeah, massive congratulations to Steersy, though, wins the race. Huge result for Whale in P2 with driver of the day. Admiral again gets another great result, but doesn't get driver of the day just simply because somebody else is outperformed completely what you'd expect. So, you know, fair play. I also want to give a shout out to James and Ryanair. They both had superb results. Watson, great race. Robin, superb race from you, Robin, as well. So, yeah, sorry if I've missed anyone else that had great races, but hopefully I've got everybody. Hey, Beastie, that is it for Tuesday night. So, a different format to our sprint. That is our sprint race format for this season. We just thought we'd change it up a bit. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you think it's a cool idea, doing it a bit differently. We saw it in a way on Sunday. We've already done it on Sunday, and I believe you're going to see it on Thursday if you're going to watch that one. Not too sure who's doing comms on Thursday yet, because I don't think Well's available, and I'm not available this week, so I don't know at the moment who is doing comms, so I can't tell you. But if you're in the Discord, keep an eye on Discord, and it will get announced. Hopefully someone can cover it. If there's anybody listening that would like to cover it, get in touch, let us know. Other than that, guys, I'm going to say good night, God bless. Thank you ever so much to everybody who's watched along with me. Thanks to everybody who watched the stream back at later point. I really appreciate it, as always, guys. Other than that, have a great rest of your evening.